thank you very much, Manu, to be present in this postmaster rebuilding the world. As I said, this is a master open to architects or planners or landscapers also from France and all countries. And we have in this year have 3 students from different countries. If you want to present yourself in a very quick way, okay? Perhaps you. Okay, Emma.
Hello, my name is Emma, and I'm an architect, and I'm from Tunisia. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Another one, Gretli.
Yes, hi, my name is Gretli. I am from Venezuela, and I'm an architect too.
Okay, Pauline.
Hello, my name is Pauline Al-Khouri. I'm from Lebanon. I'm also an architect.
Okay. Salah.
Hello, my name is Salah, and I'm also an architect from Morocco. And so yes, we keep it brief, right?
Natwan.
Oh, hello, my name is Quân. I'm a landscape designer. I'm from Vietnam.
Okay, Asma. Okay.
So I'm Asma, I'm an architect too, and I'm from Morocco.
Okay, Hamid.
Hello, I'm Misawa Abdelhamid. I'm also an architect, and I'm from Algeria.
Okay. Well, you can go on, present yourself.
Hi, I'm Kenza. I'm an architect also, recently graduated from Morocco.
Hi, it's Evgenia. I'm from Russia. I'm an architect. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Abdul Muhammad Mustafa. I'm architect from Niger.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Wafa, and I'm an architect as well from Morocco. So that's it.
Okay, everybody present himself.
Hi, I'm Alex. I study architecture in Nantes, and I do my internship at Basurama.
Okay, and Manu, I present you Hocine Aliouane-Shaw. He's the other professor who coordinated with me the postmaster. Hocine, if you want to present to Manuel.
Nice to meet you.
Hocine.
Something wrong with your microphone.
Ok, problème de connexion.
Yeah.
Okay, one. Okay.
I'll just introduce me. Connect. I'm Hocine Aliouane-Shaw, and I this master with Carlos.
Okay.
Who is frozen?
Okay, thank you very much. Well, as you can see, Manu, we are students from a lot of countries with us. So, thank again to be with us, and you can start your the conference. Go on.
Okay. Just to know, to control my time, more or less, how long should it last, the presentation?
I think we have until 6.
Until 6.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that it will take me something like an hour and something, and I would like to give you some time to make questions and to discuss things. You will see, I think, I didn't bring any project from your countries, but you will see in a map that I have in the presentation that we have been in some of the countries that you are from. We have made some things in Venezuela, in Lebanon, in Morocco, and in Algeria. But unfortunately, I didn't bring any picture about those projects. Well, I'm gonna share my screen and this one, share. Okay, I guess you see my screen now.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. And you're not seeing yourself in a window that I'm having now. It's only my screen, right?
Oh, we don't. We just see the screen
Okay.
of the presentation.
Good. Let's see if I get to move this. That's okay. Okay. Well, I have called this presentation "The Right of People to Make Places" because this is the way that we understand our work. It's mostly about empowering people to be more active about reflecting how should be the city. I find right, I guess, that you are all architects. Architects, we are trained to think about the city in different levels and different scales, and we are people who really believe that we are capable to change the world with our work. We are in this sense, we are like a positive people. The truth is that we are not as capable as we think. We even if we have like great deals and great ideas about the way that city should be, the reality is more complex and bigger than us. So we are bringing is more than explaining a lot of projects. I just choose one to go in deep. What I wanted to share with you is some experience and some thoughts and some ideas that we have and some strategies that we apply in our projects that, as I said, the main goal, although looks like to be architectural projects and objects, the real goal is to provide an experience to the people and help them to be more active in the relation with the city. So, okay. Well, I normally start with a few of very easy questions, or what looks like to be an easy question. Since we are all architects and designers, it's supposed that what we are doing are objects. So we should be capable to answer what's an object. I just going to give you my definition. That is not my definition, it's a philosophical definition of an object. An object, okay. The ontological definition from the philosophy says that an object is a substantial individual endowed with all their substantial properties.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, but is the image on the screen is still the title? Because we don't see the presentation.
Okay.
Maybe if you share the screen, like you share the whole screen, not just the presentation, because generally when you share just the presentation, we don't see the screen when it is in mode full screen. So
okay.
I don't know.
So is it working now?
Better? I think it is working now.
Yep.
Yep, it is working. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Thanks for saying. Good. That was the point. The most important part of the definition of an object is this one. It's something that has the capacity of change. And one of the biggest change that an object can have or can experience is to become trash. This thing, probably you are not hearing, but the The sound is not very important. This is a video installation that we made time ago to talk about this thing that I'm saying, that the objects quite fast nowadays become trash. Wow. Well, this is just the 1 minute version, but the original version have like 15 minutes, because the truth is that we are consuming every time. So the next question would be, what's consuming? Again, our personal definition is that consuming means extracting the value of an object. For example, though this is a picture of the Amazon facilities somewhere in the world, probably they have tons of places like this, and this is a picture that we took from the Sabalin neighborhood in Cairo. It's the neighborhood where people pick the trash and recycle in a very manual way. The point is that those two pictures looks like similar. Maybe you can see colors and shapes. I could be playing like this a little. And maybe the difference is not very big. That's the question about extracting the value. What have this thing, and what has been left? So this is the point, that through the process of consumption, the objects lose their meaning. That's the point about how a thing becomes to be a trash. And this is the essence of the contemporary objects comparing with the past century objects. The actual objects, they have not meaning, so they can be very easily disposed. I think that you can have a lot of examples in your head, like a plastic glass, for example, is something that you use for a few seconds after drinking the coffee, the water, or whatever is inside the glass. You dispose because it doesn't represent something to you. It's a plastic thing that is a copy of thousands and thousands of plastic things. And the point is that the design of the consumption process is very well done, and what you are doing alone with your objects is the same thing that your friends or your family is doing in a family scale, but it's the same thing that a whole city is doing, or a whole country, or the whole world is doing. We are consuming all the time thousands of millions of people, and we are not understanding what means our process of consumption. So in some way, we could say that nowadays we are homo consumers, because more or less, with a few cultural difference and a few economic difference, more or less we are doing the same things. We are consuming the same kind of objects, and we have very similar desires. So we could say that in the contemporary society, we have the luxury of consume all the time and not paying as much attention to our acts. So having said that, this is Basurama collective. We normally use this picture to represent ourselves, because we really believe that the power of the collective is in the group, is not in the individuals. We are all architects and environmental engineer who joined to the collective in 2011. We started in the Architectural School of Madrid in 2001. Since then, we have been doing a lot of different projects about the reflection of trust and the creative possibilities. As I said at the beginning, I just only brought public intervention projects, but we have made a lot of different projects like design projects, action projects, research projects, art projects. And coming back to the video that I showed you, we normally say that Basurama works in that very thin black line that is in between the object when it's brand new and the object when it's become trash. And this line is very, very thin and is very, very dark, because only for a few minutes or for a few hours you can have an object that has been abandoned on the street or has been stored. I don't know if you have ever tried to get materials from an institution, for example, but it's very hard. I mean, for different laws that are more or less similar in the world, it's not very easy to have access to the objects in that moment where the original owner is not interested on it, and the moment that is placed to a landfill. We have tried to get materials in a lot of different places in the world, and more or less the challenge is the same. You have to be fast, you have to move in bureaucracy, or you have to make in the night. But this is the place where we work. This is a map. You can see that we have been very lucky doing projects almost in all the continents, a part of Antarctic Iceland. But we have been in some countries of Africa, in most of the countries of Latin America, North America, Canada, different places of Europe, and a few countries in Asia. And somehow this experience let us have a global view about the topics that we use in our work, that mostly are trust, as I'm saying, consumption, public space, and informality in every sense, like informal trust speakers, informal vendors, informal professionals, etc., etc. Those are the ingredients that we work with in our projects. I forgot to tell at the very beginning, but Basurama comes from the Spanish word of trust, that is basura. So let's say that Basurama means like open view about trust. That's the meaning of Basurama word. So my last question, and probably the most important question, could be, what is trust? Since we are people who work with trust. I normally do on the presential lectures, I ask to the people what do they think that trust is. I will give you a briefing. Normally, what people think that trust is like things that are broken, things that I don't want it anymore, things that are old, not working, obsolete, etc., etc. The point is that the majority of definitions about trust are about the object. And our definition of trust is that it's a status that we humans assign to an object when it's no longer useful. I mean, it's not about the object, as I said when I was showing the pictures of the Amazon facility and the neighborhood in Cairo. It's not about the object. It's about the way that we look at the object. I think that we all know different examples about a person who takes something from the street because it finding useful and repair, transform, and make a new thing from that. So it's not about the object, it's about the way that a person thinks that is not longer useful and another person thinks that is can have a second life. That's a typical example. What do you see here? You see a tire. It's something very common in our society, but it's a very complex object under a designing point of view, because it's compounded of rubber and it's compounded by metal. It lasts a lot of kilometers, resisting a lot of strength, etc., etc. But under that, you can think about transportation, roads, speed, etc., etc. But if I show you this other object and I ask you, what do you see? Maybe what you are seeing is chaos, is dirty, is something dangerous, is contamination, etc., etc. But again, the difference between this object and this one is almost nothing. Those ones have suffered some use, but the essence of the object is the same. What changed a lot is the presentation of the object. I'm showing here 4 tires under a white background. Here I'm showing like a labyrinth or a big informal amount of objects. And that changed your point of view, but a part of that is not like a very change in the object. As citizens, we are told to recycling, reduce, reuse, and repair. I put it more or less in the order that institutions are pushing us to act with the objects. Most of the countries in the world are very into recycling, and I would say that this idea of recycling has produced some mistakes in the way that we think about consumption, in the meaning that first, not everything can be recycled. Just a few materials like glass or cardboard can be recycled. Some plastics, but it's not easy to make the same quality of plastic from a used plastic. And recycling is something like help us to throw more trash, because we normally think that everything can be recycled, or there's an institution or with certain facilities that makes something good with our trash. But this is not the truth. I'm not gonna be more in depth about this, but the truth is that most of the trash that we throw, they are not gonna be recycled anymore. They're gonna be left in a place. The second and most important thing is reduce. That's the point about trash. What we should do is to be more critic about the things that we buy and the time that we use them. Reuse is the thing that we do in Basurama, and repair is something that we almost have forgotten to do, or the industry are not very supporting about letting people repair the objects. For example, like an iPhone. I don't know if you have ever tried to repair your mobile, but nowadays it's really hard. There are no instructions. You need like very special tools to repair. Things are pasted, so you cannot just quit and change a piece, etc., etc. So what I said, in Basurama, what we do is reuse, even knowing that this is not a solution to the garbage problem, because as I said in the previous slide, the point is about reduction. But what we do in Basurama is reuse. Why? We do because reuse is the action of changing the use of an object and giving it a new one, a new use to the object. This is our definition of reuse. And a new use brings a new meaning to the object. And this is the point. When you take a plastic bottle that is designed to have water and you convert in another thing, the meaning of the plastic bottle is changing. So in some way, reusing is resignifying. Again, if I show you this picture and I ask you, what do you see? And if I showed you this picture and I ask you, what do you see? On this second picture, we reuse the tires to make something else. But again, I think that is the third or the fourth time that I say, again, these objects haven't changed as much. We just cut the circles from the tire and join all together, but the material in essence is the same, but something has changed from here to here. So this way, the new meaning changed our relation with the object. Would you come here? Or would you come here? When we reuse, we change the use, we change the meaning through the use, our relation with the object changes. And now we look at this object and we want to touch, we want to play, we want to understand how it's done, we want to have it, we want to make again in another place. This is the change that has been produced through reusing. So reuse is a tool to change the way that we see the reality. That's the whole picture of the project that I was showing. That was an intervention in an abandoned bridge under Lima. And trust allows us to go beyond the limits of citizens' imagination. I mean, we as architects, we make a lot of abstraction in our work. When you are drawing a line with your computer program, you are assuming a lot of information. You draw two lines because that's a concrete wall, and you are thinking about the resistance of your concrete wall, about the price, the color, the function, etc., etc. So you know that if you are, as an architect, draw those two lines, at the end of the process in the construction, it will appear an object that is gray, is made with concrete, and it resists certain kilograms, etc., etc. But when you work with trust, you cannot work in that way. You cannot expect which kind of material you will have. It's not easy to work through the computers with the material. You have to experience with the material through the prototyping and the transformation of the materials. You move out of your circle of security and you discover things as a designer. And doing those things together with people provides new situations with those materials, because are not bricks, metal bars, pieces of wood, and like classic construction materials. Here are some examples of projects that we made in the past, like getting an abandoned structure from the Spanish embassy in Malabo that they were dismantled, and they offer us to make something for the Spanish Cultural Center with this structure, and we make these two things. We make a student place, and we make a playground with the structure. But basically, we took the pieces, we cut them, we remixed and produced those two solutions, but could be any other. I mean, the possibilities were thousands. Or that's a water container that we got from a cultural center in Madrid, and we transformed in a magic classroom as part of a transformation process with the kids of a public school in Madrid. If you ask to a kid what is a classroom, probably they will say that it's a place with chairs, tables, a teacher, and a blackboard. So through the process of working with something different and pretending to make a classroom, you find out a different learning situation with the kids. Like, they are the ones who enter through this hall, so the teachers cannot enter, they have to speak to them from outside, so it changes the relation between the teacher and the kids. This kind of in-gravity situation, the colors, the playing through learning. So this is an example of how trust lets you imagine things out of the box. Or, for example, in this case, we took the lamppost of a landfill in Taipei, and we make this thing under one of the highways that cross the city. So, thinking that in Taipei they have a lot of lampposts, and this situation of elevate highways crossing the city, you can think that you could establish a strategy where all those materials could be combined to provide different solutions and to activate this typical place in Taipei. And that's something that really, really interests us, this kind of a possible strategy. So we make an example working with some people. You can see that in this picture, there's young people that were part of a design office. They collaborate in the project. They discovered that those materials are possible to get from the municipality. They make the design together with us, so they could continue with the design process, taking another places in the city and doing similar projects and giving different solutions of public space in their city. So that is the point about establishing a strategy, a part of a unique object. But as I said also at the very beginning, above these projects, there's always a community. We never make a project by our own in any place. We are always invited to make something with people, and we focus on the learning process of the people. Because we believe that the construction of a project is mainly a way to build a community. It's a excuse, the design process, the final result, that is important in some way. I will go about that later. But the most important thing is building a community, providing them the whole experience and helping them to give continuity to the experience in a city where they are living, because we, Basurama, are in those places for 3-4 weeks as maximum, and then we leave the city. The ones who stay and can support the project or replicate or repair are the ones who participate with us. So the question is, how do we contribute to build a community? There are different ways. The first is accompanying people in a process of transforming their own public space, as I said. We try to follow the whole process together with the people, not only the construction. We make the research of possible materials to use in the project with them, so they discover which materials are affordable in their city. We make the designing process so they can connect creative ideas with the materials that they can have. We make the construction process so they learn the tools and the techniques that are necessary to make the project. We also try to use very simple tools, so once we leave the place, we can believe that they can get again those tools. So we normally don't go further than a drill or a domestic show. And you can see some examples here of the kind of people who takes part. Those were graffiters and designers from Lima. These guys were volunteers in Niger who wanted to transfer a cultural center in the city. These girls were architects and activists in Cairo on the times of the Arab Spring, in a moment where in Cairo people wanted to make activities on public space, but there were not like structures to support those activities, like having a stage or having some protection from the sun. So they took part in the project to learn some quick techniques to transform the public space and make activities. Those are kids from a public school in Madrid. So we even work with very, very, very small kids, even smaller than those ones. Or those girls are refugees from Mexico and Philadelphia, and their kids go to a public school, and they wanted to build something to provide an extra use to the entrance of the school, and giving some life to a backyard that was basically empty of things. Another way that we help to build a community is pushing the limits of possible through fun. That's also very important for us. We think that the construction process, well, the whole process at the end has to be fun, has to be a good experience to the people, so they like it and they want to make again. Here, for example, that's a project that we made in Barcelona, where basically the idea was playing with remixed furniture to create new things and to play in a public square. Or this is a very ephemeral project that we made in Sao Paulo as part of a cultural event that only lasts one day, and we make a very quick but very powerful transformation of a bridge in a place where people is normally scared of passing because nobody is there. So giving some activation of the place through fun help people to reflect why is not active this place the rest of the year. Another way to build a community is visualizing the wishes and conflicts of a community through the collective action. Most of the communities that invite us to make a project, they do it because they want to solve something. They have a problem, they have a desire, they have a confrontation with an institution or with other people about a place that is normally in their neighborhood. So giving some visualization to the conflict is a way to bring people and be together and find a way to solve the problem. For example, this project is in Madrid. Those people are neighbors who are living in the houses that you can see in the picture, but this place in between is basically an abandoned place. It's supposed that was going to be a road for cars, but in a certain moment of the crisis that happened in 2009, 2010, the municipality government of Madrid decided not to build something there. So they have like a abandoned space, and they were not capable to cross even from the left to the right of this picture. So what we did with them is transforming the place into a landscape. Because at the end, this is something that you cannot make in the main center of a city, but from this situation that is a problem, you also can think that this is a possibility. So this is what we did. We make this landscape together with them, and after that, oh, I lose a picture. Well, after that, we make an exhibition in a cultural center to give some visualization of the problem of these neighbors. Well, at this point, I don't know if anybody wants to ask something, or do I continue?
I think it's okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
yes, everything is okay. I'm enjoying.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go. Well, now what I'm going to show you is a project that we made in Madrid, so we can go a little more in deep about how is a whole process in a Basurama project. This project was called Paisaje Sur, that in English means southern landscape. And to give you some background, Madrid has been for some years one of the most important capitals in the world about public space transformation. There are several collectives in Madrid. During the crisis, the municipality of Madrid led or gave more room to the people to make things on the public space, because they didn't have the budget to solve common problems. So they were more flexible about giving permissions to make interventions of public space. But in a certain moment, around 2013, they even discovered that those projects had a very low budget comparing with the budgets that they normally use. For example, they discovered that the price of building a kindergarten it's much bigger than letting people to have their kids in an abandoned place in the center of Madrid. So they started to promote some projects that were designed from the municipality to tips and neighbors, and to make intervention projects, but under the umbrella of the city council, not just giving permissions to the people to make something, but doing research in every district of Madrid and putting some money on the table to let the neighbors and the architects to choose the best places to make interventions. So this one was promoted by the Urban Landscape Office and Intermediaria, that is kind of mediation cultural center in Madrid, and they choose those two districts in red. That's the reason that the project was called Southern Landscape. The white shape is the main center of Madrid, and is where basically everything happened in Madrid in terms of cultural activities. So they wanted to make something in the south where normally do not happen as much things. And the project was conceived as an open conversation because, as I said, the municipality just invited 4 architectural collectives and certain certain cultural and artistic collectives of those neighborhoods who were especially active to choose whatever they wanted to do in their districts. Those are the participants, just to show you that there were like a lot of people involved in this project. And there were like a general project methodology that was proposed by the Intermediate Cultural Office. And well, it was very similar to our strategy or our methodology, by the way. That is first doing an analysis of the territory. We met several times during a couple of months, visiting the districts, having conversations with the neighbors on the street, taking pictures, discussing possibilities, problems, etc., etc. At the end, there were choose those 4 places. We just participated in one of those, the one that is in the bottom right. But just to show you that was not only one project, but was like 4 projects at the same time. Each project had a management of the permissions with the different solutions, because those places were totally different regarding the ownership and the permissions that were required. And as part of the methodology, the municipality provide us those materials that are the wood from the public benches in Madrid. That basically in Madrid we have those 2 models. The one on the right is the most common and the most classic. It's called Madrid bench. It's made with those very, very thick tables. And the one on the left is called romantic bench, and is made with those slats and those 2 metal parts. So we have the access to the facilities where the benches are dismantled and repaired, and we took this amount of wood and shared the 4 collectives to make our projects. Every project follow different paths. I will show you the final result, but I only going to show you our personal process in our project. So the results were this kind of mobile intervention on one of the central squares of one of the districts that was made by a collective that is called PEC. This one was an intervention in an urban garden made by Zuluar Collective. This project was kind of a cinema that is mostly active on summer, that was made by Todo por la Praxis. And this is the project that we made, that was also the activation of an urban garden that was close to a church. So, some ideas and reflections through the methodology that we, Basurama, follow on those projects. First idea: durability, security, responsibility are transversal questions in every project. I said sometime before that the construction of a project is the excuse to build a community. But the durability and security are very important because if the project that you make with the people doesn't last or doesn't work, people is not gonna believe on the process. And this is very important. If you spend weeks and weeks with the people, making meetings, doing designs, providing solutions, etc., etc., and at the end you make something that in 24 hours is broken, that people is gonna believe that it doesn't deserve to participate in those projects, because they spend a lot of time, they put a lot of wishes on the table for nothing. So we have to provide good solutions and very resistant solutions, because the public space is really hard. It's very difficult to expect or to control what is happening all the time. So one option is to start the project through this idea, how to make something that is very durable. I don't know if you have ever made some carpentry, but one of the challenges about working with wood is getting some stiffness to the joints of two pieces of wood. There are different ways to do, but it's something really hard comparing with the use of metal. So the first thing that we brought to a design meeting with the people we have to work with was this kind of model, one prototype about how to join two pieces of wood and do it in a hard way. And we brought this thing. So some meetings later, we brought this idea of using like 6 different ways to join the wood. After that, we brought to a meeting those 2 things that were not exactly a design, but was like a way to show the possibilities of the solution. But in any moment, we were proposing a final shape. We even brought this image. But the point, and this is what we call open design, we don't make a final design on the co-designing meetings. What we bring are solutions, drawings, examples, models that help people to choose or to develop the designs. So by not proposing a specific form in this project, we were able to negotiate all kind of requests. For example, in a certain moment, the neighbors wanted to make a project with a U shape, because I didn't say, but the district is called Usera, that start with the letter U. So they wanted to make something with a letter U shape, and we say, okay, let's do it. Let's use our construction solution with the metal and the wood, and let's make a letter U. So we took our design that is on the left. We make just 3 kind of ribbons, and on the right you can see the way that we use them. Second idea, how to make precision accessible to everyone. It's connected with the previous idea, how to make something that is durable and resist, so the project works, it lasts a good amount of time, and people believe in the process. But at the same time, if you need precision to make those projects, but you want people to participate, you have to design the construction process, not only the detail, but you have to design a way so everybody, even a person who have never put a screw, or a person who have never used a drill, can make something that looks like to be complex. This is not something that we are used to do as architects, because when we are doing an architectural project, we expect to have professional builders doing the things that we draw in our program. But if you are working with people, you cannot expect to have participants with the special skills. This picture is a detail of the project, where you can see that there's kind of complexity with the pieces of metal and the holes. And the challenge in this project was to get the holes exactly in the center of the wooden slats and have them with a certain separation that was 8 centimeters and couldn't be more or less because the metal pieces have already their holes. So we find a way that is distinct to make the holes with totally precision. The red tool is very common, is what is called a column drill. It makes a drill from up to down, but the thing that we designed was the wooden thing that is kind of a template where you put the slat, and you can see in this drawing, there's only 2 possible positions to the wooden slat. So putting the piece in those positions, first and second, you have the holes exactly where you want. This thing let us have any kind of person doing the task with totally precision and transforming the wood into pieces that after that was very easy to mount, like kind of IKEA furniture. This is the result of the system that was very easy to assemble because the holes were exactly in its place, and everyone who came to the project could participate, as those girls from an institute, but also the children of the neighbors who came, of course the neighbors, etc., etc. Third idea: how to adapt the rate of construction and the commitments to comply with the administration deadlines to the citizen participation. The point is, normally people have a work, so they have money, so they can have a life, and at the same time, you have a limit amount of time to make your project. When we make a project out of Madrid, or when we make a project out of Spain, we normally have a limit time to make the project. We have in between 2 and 4 weeks, more or less, is the average time that we spend in a project. And this is the time that we have. We have to make the research of materials, the co-designing process, and the construction process in that time, working with people that have another works. So you cannot expect to have the people the 24 hours working with you. You cannot press people to make the things perfectly on time, but you want them to take part of the project and to understand how is the construction process. So the construction and participation process has to be designed also. You cannot expect that people is gonna stay all the time and they are gonna come back every day if they are not liking the process, because you are giving a lot of pressure to the people to have things on time. So what we do is, of course, every person that for whatever reason wants to stay the whole time is very welcome in the process, but we normally make like the dirty part of the job during the weekly days or during the morning. That is the time that people is working in their jobs. Like in this example, we sand the wood, we make some cutting, we make the protection, etc., etc. And like a lighthouse, as a metaphor, everybody knows that we are working there, so they can join to us in any moment. But well, everyone is welcome to participate at any time. But we focus our communication efforts on the weekends and in the afternoons, that is when people is free. So we make a communication process to let people know that there is something special is going to happen on those times, and we prepare the whole atmosphere for those days or those hours of the week. If participation were kind of an orchestra where everybody has to have a place, we understand ourselves as mediators, entertainers, or producers of the project. But no, we do not understand ourselves as the constructors. If you spend your time doing the things, you forget to help people to have fun and to learn. So on those projects, we do not normally use the tools, but we are around all the time, paying attention to the people, helping them to solve the problems, explaining the task again and again, paying attention so all the materials that are necessary are not finished, so everybody is not like stopping, etc., etc. In this example, you can see that there were like a lot of people at the same time. We were in the center, coordinating everything, but there were the neighbors, students, some associations, people who appear for one day, some friends, etc., etc. And we were coordinating everything, but not doing the task. And we try to leave the most important task or the most fun for the people. So we make, as I saw here, we make the boring but important parts of the job, like preparing the woods, and letting people to make the fun parts, that is like creating the structures in this case. So what we do is prepare all the sketches, drawings, tools, etc., to explain the job to the neighbors. Here in this picture, I'm explaining how is the process, like with a model, and then we also have a person in the team that is preparing food. This is very important, food and celebration. I will talk about this now. And while a person is kinding the floor, there is a participant that were doing the cement. We designed the whole process to be done in about 4 hours, because this project was made on winter, so it's cold. We have only few hours of light, so we designed everything to make done in 4 hours, and then we celebrate the work having food all together. And this is very important. It may sound like stupid or very mystical, but the point is that celebration is a ritual, and those rituals contributes to the construction of the community, and this is what makes people to come back again and take part on the project. And this is something that we learned time ago. For example, in doing this project in Africa, me and another guy, one day we wanted to transport something that we were building, and we made a lawn through the street. The street was crossed by those electrical wires, was super tiring to pass all the obstacles. We were alone, we suffered a lot, etc., etc. But the next day, we discovered that there were kind of carnival parade in the city, and we offer us to take part. So we use one of those trucks, and we make the transportation with the kids and with the participants of the parade. So we finish in the place with all the people and the dancers, and we create kind of a celebration of the transportation. So if you think better all the steps of a project, all of them can become a celebration, all of them can be more fun, and all of them can contribute to build the community of the project. And this is the reason that during the weekends on this project, we make the ritual of providing food to the people again and again for 2 months. That is the time that lasts the project until the job was done. And after having the project, we make another time a celebration with the people to make a kind of wrapping of the whole process. Five years later, this project is still there, because the people who took part of the project really feels that is the result of their work, is what they wanted to have in their place. They participate in the construction process, and they know all the techniques, and they have all the tools that are necessary to repair the project. They even make a few more things by their own. And of course, having this project in Madrid is very easy for us to pass there and help them with any problem that they have. But in other projects where we cannot come back again to the city, the result is more or less the similar. If you provide the people the whole experience, you can expect them to give continuity to the project, or to replicate, or to make change, or even to make better than the first time. And the fourth and last idea are legal versus legitimate, certificate knowledge versus practical knowledge, risk versus responsibility. Those questions arise always in our projects, because somehow we move in the informality. We are architects and we are professionals, but we are doing projects with people that are not officially certificate to make constructions. We make things that don't exactly accomplish all the rules that public objects have to accomplish. Sometimes we do, but sometimes not. People wonders which is the level of risk that they can assume participating on the projects. What happens if a person have an accident? What happens if a person have an accident not only during the construction but after the project? Who is responsible, etc., etc. Those are bureaucracy questions, but they can also transform into creative questions. How to give recognition to the informal knowledge? That's something that we have afforded through a project that is on a website. It's called Ciudad de Escuela. That is the translation is City as a School, and it's a website where you can get those badges, those digital badges, if you take part in a project. And the idea is that if we get to have a lot of people with this informal recognition, we can expect by the side of the institutions to accept that the people who have those skills into construction, designing, into gardening, into managing materials, etc., etc. Maybe the institutions can start to recognize that these people is perfectly capable to make these projects, and they are not asking all the time for those kind of permissions and certifications to make projects on public space. Another question that we afford is how to institutionalize the exceptionality that our access to public materials has. That was on that slide that I was saying that we work in a very thin black line. The point is that it's not easy to get access to materials. A part of the things that you find on the street it's not very easy to have a meeting with the director of a museum, to have access to their facilities and take the materials that they are not using. It's not easy to have a meeting with the owner of an enterprise, to have a look to the things that they are wasting and take for a project. But with Basurama, we have from time to time, because we are well known in Spain, we have the experience, well, we have some techniques to get access to those things, but not everybody. So we wonder how we can open that box to the rest of the people. And this is one of the things that we are currently working on through a project that we call Relapse. And we are still doing only Madrid, and we are on one side we are making a review of the waste management system in the city through the laws, but also through the process. We have understood how is the process of the municipality of Madrid with their own materials. When do they choose to throw something? What is left? And how can we have access to it? We make this map of the resources that you can get from the Madrid municipality, and well, those are some examples of the materials that are abandoned in different places of the city, and we make a few intervention projects, not by Basurama, but we make an open call and we invite other collectives to make projects in public schools with these materials to test how could be the final protocol where a community can ask for materials to the municipality. We promote on the schools the culture of reusing over recycling with these materials. And we put into circulations the materials that we think that has not exhausted their useful life. And as I said, letting the people being active protagonists of the whole process. Right now we present a new proposal for the waste management law in Madrid that we are still waiting the answer by the municipality if they accept or not. We have the agreement with the municipality to have access to the materials, but we are still waiting until the law is changed, so other communities can have the same access as we have. And that's it. So this is that was my presentation. That hope that didn't bore you as much. Okay. And if everyone wants to ask me something, you are very welcome.